The scanner beeps a second time, and the cashier's eyes flick up, and you feel the line behind you go still, the way a room goes still, before something happens that nobody in it will forget. The man in front of you is patting his coat pockets, not the panicked pat of someone who lost their wallet, a slower, more disbelieving pat, like he's checking a wound to see if it's really there. His card sits on the little black reader, blinking red. Declined. The cashier, a boy who can't be older than 19, says it again, softer this time, like maybe the volume was the problem. Sir, it's not going through. You notice things about him you can't explain noticing. His coat is wool, but it's 5 years out of style. The kind of coat a man wears because it still works, not because it says anything about him. His boots are scuffed at the toe in a way that only happens from actual walking, not from looking rugged. And yet outside the sliding glass doors of the Thistle Creek IGA, parked crooked across two spaces like the driver didn't care who noticed, sits a black SUV with windows so dark they look wet, engine running, two men standing near it, who are doing a very poor job of pretending they are not watching. This exact door. He tries the card again. Declined. He tries a second. Card. Declined. His jaw works side to side. And, for 1 second, just one something crosses his face that isn't embarrassment. It's closer to fear. A grown man, maybe 50, with hands that have never done a day of manual labor in their life. And he is looking at a conveyor belt of eggs, bread, a small carton of orange juice, and a single blue birthday candle. The whole thing is a math problem he can't solve. I have money, he says, to no one, to everyone. I have plenty of money. You believe him. That's the strange part. You believe him completely, and you still don't understand why. The woman behind you sighs loud enough to be heard in the next county. Someone mutters something about card readers being broken all week. The cashier looks at you, at the man, at the line, stacking up behind you like dominoes waiting to fall. And you do the thing you've done your whole life, without ever deciding to. You step forward and set your debit card down next to his groceries. Put it on mine, you say. The man turns. Really? Turns? Like you've said something in a language he didn't expect to hear in a grocery store off Route 9. No, he says. No, I can't let you. It's $22, you say. Because it is. And because you have exactly 41 left until Friday, and you are choosing not to think about that right now. Buy the man his eggs. He doesn't move for a second. He's looking at you the way you sometimes catch your students looking at a math problem they almost understand. Like, the answer is right there, and it's making them a little dizzy. Then he looks down at your card, at your name on it, and something happens in his face that you will spend the next 3 weeks trying to name and failing. Corrine, he says quietly, reading it, not a question, like he's testing how the word sits in his mouth. That's me, you say. Because what else do you say? The transaction goes through in for seconds. He gathers the bag himself, refusing the boy's help. And for a moment, he just stands there holding a paper sack of eggs and bread, and one lonely birthday candle, like it's the heaviest thing he's ever carried. You don't know what you just did, he says. You laugh, a little uncomfortable now, because people don't usually say things like that over groceries. I bought you breakfast, you say. He almost smiles, almost. Something like that, he says. And then he's moving toward the door, toward the SUV, toward the two men who straighten up the second they see him coming, like soldiers, snapping to attention. And just before the automatic doors slide shut behind him, he turns back one more time and looks at you across the length of the store. And there is something in that look you cannot place, something that feels less like gratitude and more like recognition. Then he's gone. The black SUV pulls away fast, tires chirping on wet asphalt, and you stand there, holding your receipt for $22.11. And the woman behind you says, well, that was strange. And you agree. And you carry your own groceries out to your 10-year-old Corolla, and you don't think about it again. Not for 3 days, anyway. You should know something about yourself, because it matters for what comes next. You are 39 years old. You have taught 3rd grade at Thistle Creek Elementary for 14 years, in the same brick building where you yourself sat in a wooden desk decades ago. And you are currently raising your sister's son, Dallas, who is 8. Ever since your sister decided motherhood wasn't a job she wanted anymore and left him with you. And a note that said you're better at this than me. Anyway, you believed that note for about a year. Some days you still don't. You are, by any honest accounting, 2 months behind on a mortgage that was never supposed to be yours alone. The house was your grandmother's, and you inherited it, along with the leaking roof and a loan you refinanced twice, trying to keep it. You teach summer school for the extra $400 a month. You have not bought yourself new shoes in over a year. And on the drive home from the IGA that night, radio humming low, Dallas asleep in the back seat with the permission slip crumpled in his fist, you think briefly, and only because you're tired, that $22 you gave to a stranger might have been the wrong $22 to give away. You don't know yet that it was the only $22 in your entire life that would ever come back around and change everything. 3 days pass. Nothing unusual happens, except for the small things you almost don't notice. A bouquet of grocery store daisies appears on your classroom desk Tuesday morning with no card. Odell Fairweather, who runs the diner on Main, mentions offhand that a man in an expensive coat came in Monday asking quiet questions about the schoolteacher who pays for things, and nobody in the diner could figure out who he meant because, as Odell put it, half this town's broke enough to know what that feels like. You think it's nothing. You think Odell exaggerates, because Odell always exaggerates. Then on Thursday night, folding laundry with the local news murmuring in the background, a name catches you before the face does. Emory Vance. The anchor is saying something about a boardroom coup, about a company called Halcyon Systems, about a founder who built it from a garage outside Cincinnati into one of the largest private tech firms on the East Coast, about how 3 days ago, in what insiders are calling an unprecedented hostile maneuver, his own board of directors froze his personal accounts and locked him out of company assets in an emergency vote timed while he was, and here the anchor actually says it, reportedly, traveling through rural Ohio for reasons that remain unclear, and then the photo comes up on screen. You drop the shirt you're folding. It's him. The coat is different in the photo, sharper, tailored, a stranger's version of the man who stood in front of you with eggs in his hands and fear in his face. But it's him. Same jaw, same eyes. That looked at your name on a debit card like it meant something. $22. You gave $22 to a man worth, according to the anchor's next sentence, an estimated $4.1 billion. You sit down on the edge of your bed, and you don't move for a long time. And the strangest thing, the thing that keeps you up until nearly 1 in the morning, isn't the number. It's the memory of his face when the card declined. That wasn't performance. That wasn't some billionaire's idea of a game. Whatever was happening to him in that grocery store, it was real, and it was frightening him. And for 11 minutes of his very large and very complicated life, Emory Vance had nothing, and the only person in Thistle Creek, Ohio, who did anything about it was you. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. You tell yourself the story ends there. Strange encounter, a stranger's face on the news, a thing you'll bring up at Thanksgiving for the next 10 years. You almost believe it. Then Friday morning, your mortgage servicer calls. You almost don't answer, because calls from that number never bring good news, and you brace yourself the way you always do, ready to explain again that you'll catch up, that you need 2 more weeks, that you're not the kind of person who doesn't pay her debts. You're just the kind of person life keeps testing. The woman on the phone says the loan balance has been paid in full. You ask her to repeat that. She does. Paid in full. This morning, wire transfer, account closed, and marked satisfied. You ask who paid it. She says she's not permitted to share that information, but that whoever it was left a note attached to the transfer, And would you like her to read it? You say yes before you've finished breathing in. For the eggs, she reads. And for something you did 14 years before that you don't remember. And that I never forgot. You sit down on your kitchen floor, Dallas's cereal bowl still on the table, and you try to make sense of a sentence that doesn't make sense. Because you have never met Emory Vance before that grocery store. You would remember a face like that. You would remember $4 billion standing in your checkout line before this week. 14 years before that. 14 years ago, you were 25. Brand new. Third year of teaching, assigned that fall to a combined 4th and 5th grade classroom because the school was short a teacher, and you were the only one foolish enough to say yes. You try to remember that year. You remember a lot of names. You remember a boy in the back row who never had lunch money and never asked for it either, who you started quietly paying for out of your own pocket without ever making it a thing, without ever telling him you knew, because you'd learned already that dignity mattered more to a hungry 10-year-old than charity did. You remember he wore the same coat every single day that winter, a coat 2 sizes too big, hand-me-down wool, and one January morning, you noticed his boots had a hole clean through the sole, and you drove to the outlet store in Zanesville after school and bought a pair in a size you guessed at, and you left them on his desk the next morning with no note, because you didn't want him to have to say thank you to your face. You remember his name landed somewhere in the back of your mind for years and eventually slipped loose, the way names do when you've taught 1,100 children and can't hold all of them forever. You did not remember until this exact moment, sitting on your kitchen floor with the phone against your ear, that the boy's name was Emory. He comes to the school 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday, without the SUV this time, without the men in suits, driving a plain gray truck. He parks crooked in visitor parking, exactly the way his SUV had been parked crooked outside the IGA, like some part of him has never learned to park like he belongs somewhere. Principal Voss meets him at the front office, looking like he's about to have a heart attack, because word travels fast in a town of 2,000 people, and everyone already knows who's walking their halls today. You're mid-lesson, 3rd graders working through long division on the whiteboard, when there's a knock at your door and Emory Vance is standing in the hallway of Thistle Creek Elementary in a coat that's finally new, finally his own, and something in his face when he sees you through the little window in the door looks exactly like it did 14 years ago, a kid checking to see if the person he trusts is still where he left her. You step into the hallway. Neither of you says anything for a moment. You bought me boots, he says finally. January, I think it was. I never told you I knew it was you, because I was afraid if I said it out loud, you'd take it back. I remember the coat, you say. I never connected, I'm sorry, I should have. You shouldn't have to remember, he says. That's the whole point of what you did. You weren't supposed to be remembered for it. He looks past you, into your classroom, at 22 kids, hunched over long division, at a room with peeling paint and a ceiling tile stained brown from a roof leak nobody's had the budget to fix in 6 years. I heard the district's closing this building next year. Budget shortfall. They're busing everyone 40 minutes to Caldwell County instead. You didn't know that. Nobody told the teachers yet, not officially, though you'd heard the rumor, same as everyone. It's not closing, he says. I made a call this morning. There's an endowment now, new roof, new everything, 20 years of operating costs. A scholarship fund for every kid in this building who needs boots in January and is too proud to ask. He almost smiles again. The same almost smile from the checkout line. I told them it has to keep your name on it, not mine, yours. You try to say something and nothing comes out right. So instead, you just stand there in a hallway that smells like pencil shavings and old radiator heat, looking at a boy you saved once without knowing it, who grew up and built an empire and lost control of it for exactly 11 minutes in a grocery store checkout line, long enough for the universe to hand him back to the one person who never needed to know his name to treat him like he mattered. For what it's worth, he says, turning to leave. The card being declined was real. Bored froze. Everything trying to force me out that week. Cruelest week of my life. Do you want the truth of it? And somehow, it turned into the best one. He pauses at the end of the hallway, hand on the door. Funny thing about being broke for 11 minutes, Corrine. It's the only time in 20 years anyone's helped me without wanting something back. Then he's gone. Boots on the linoleum. The same scuffed toe walk. And you go back into your classroom where 20 to 8-year-olds are waiting on you to explain the next step of long division. And you do. Because that's the job. That's always been the job. Showing up for people who don't yet know what they'll grow up to become, and trusting that somewhere down the line it will matter. It always matters. You just don't always get to see it come home.
That is the power of one small choice made without expecting anything back. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next story.